I'll be focusing on how we can write the quality papers and what are the tools are there and how we can select the proper journal and what are the things to be considered before submitting the papers and how we can select the journal for your respective work. So those things I'll be discussing in today's discussion. So the today's agenda is, how to write quality research papers. So I'll just briefly tell you what are the things need to be there in the research papers and what are the things need to be prepared along with the research papers for the submission. So that I'll be discussing. And the next one is what are the AI tools we have for the research papers and what are the pros and cons of the AI tools. So that I'll be discussing. And what are the research tools available for writing quality research papers, okay, and how we can select a proper journal, okay, for your quality work. And finally, I'll be talking about the research profile. So these are all the today's topics I'll be discussing with by one. So first, let me move on to the publications. So, first, I just want to discuss why publications are required. This is what the question coming to the young minds as well as the experienced teachers. Why have to publish? What is the need of it, and what is the benefit of it? So that's what the questions nowadays, because because of a lot of pressure from the institutions. They are pressurizing the faculty members and the research scholars to publish many papers to get into the ranking. So that's one thing, and the people's minds, they are asking why I have to do this. Okay, though I get some kind of ranking, and why I have to do this. So I'll be discussing why you have to go for the publications. So the first one is the dissemination of the knowledge. So that is always very important because that's why even we do some kind of research. Okay, supposing the people they have not disseminated any kind of knowledge to the people, then how we can do the research? So in such way, obviously, when we do something, it need to be disseminated. Okay, so the dissemination, it may be through any media, or it may be through the journal or the conference or the magazine or newspaper, or it may be some kind of interviews or whatever it may be. Okay, so dissemination is very important so that the people can start work on the same the field, and the validation and the peer review. Okay, so when I do something, I don't know that whether it is going properly, whether it is validated properly. Okay, so if you want to get some kind of experts inputs, obviously we have to go for the publication. Suppose I am doing some work, but I don't know any experts in my field. So in such case, if you submit your paper to some quality journals, and your paper will be reviewed by some of the subject experts, okay, and you'll be getting the quality review comments, and based on the review comments you can work on it and you can further improve your research. Okay, so validation in the peer review, for that purpose again we need a publications. And the advancement of science, as you know that the publications are, this is required for the advancing scientific progress. So this process drives the further research and facilitates a scientific breakthrough. So obviously, when we do something and if we give it to the people and if we publish it, and the people will start refer to it, and we can create some kind of scientific breakthroughs through the publications. Okay, so that one of the improvement of what it's recently happened, I'll be telling you. So one of the paper I read recently, it's a preprint. Okay, and my work is on the solar photovoltaic system. So so far, the people are talking about some kind of organic solar cells and some kind of perovskite solar cells and all. And the people so far they claimed is only about 29.2 percentage as the conversion efficiency. But the one preprint I recently read, they climbed 39.2 percentage of the conversion efficiency. So this can be a scientific breakthrough because so far the people got only about 28 percentage, and that too it is not in the commercial market. Still, it is in the research process. But one preprint they published it and they climbed 39 percentage. This is again a scientific breakthrough. So for this, obviously we need a publications. Okay, and the career advancement may be for the promotion or it may be for getting degree. Okay, so for any kind of the career advancement, the publications are required. And now most of the institutions they made it mandatory for getting promoted, and the academic recognition So if you want to be recognized in the institution, then obviously the publications are required, because and nowadays the teaching is the primary thing, but anyone can do, and that is the primary duty of all the teachers. But apart from that, what you are doing, okay, so and how that will be validated. So that is again through the publication. When you do some kind of research works and the publications, then obviously you'll be getting recognized in the institutions. Okay, and the impact on the policy and practices. Okay, so the people are thinking that what we publish, what the researchers are publishing, no one is referring it. It's not the case. Actually, the industry people are referring to the research papers, and they are taking these research papers as the evidences when they do any kind of a new policy and practices. Okay, then so for this, for making good policy and practices, obviously the publications are important. Okay, and the publication gives a lot of opportunity for the collaboration and the networking, and so that you can widen your research area, and still you can improve your research quality. So publication gives a lot of opportunities for the collaboration and the networking. Okay, and it's a preservation of the knowledge for the future engineers, okay, our future generations, I can say. Okay, so when we do something, when we publish something, and this is the reference for the future generations. So these are all the important factors why we are going for the publications, apart from the ranking or those things. Okay, actually, to say that these are all the important factors to be considered for the publications. Okay, and what is a research paper? So actually, when we go for the publication, as I told you, we have so many mediums, like we can go for the journal, we can go for the conferences, and you can publish in newspaper, magazines, okay, or the tech notes or white paper, or whatever. So we have so many mediums to publish any work. Okay, but here my focus is on the research paper. And what is a research paper? The research paper is a article which deals with a specific work or specified work. Okay, and it's a kind of academic writing that provides in-depth analysis and evaluation of that particular topic and interpretation of a single topic based on the empirical evidences. So obviously we need to have some kind of the experimental evidences are always very important for to climb your paper as a research paper. Okay, so a research paper is a comprehensive document that presents a findings, analysis, and interpretation of study or investigation conducted by the researchers. Yes, it's a comprehensive document. It's not because we have some kind of publications like short communication, editorial, letters, like that. We have so many short communication publications also available. Okay, but this research paper is a comprehensive document. It deals with everything. Okay, it's findings, analysis, even the literature study, interpretation of the study, and investigation, the discussions. Okay, everything will be there. It's a kind of a comprehensive document. Okay, and it is typically written by the scholars or the academicians, and is used to contribute to the existing knowledge in a particular field or the discipline. Okay, and the research papers are the foundation for the modern science and most effective way to share the information across the wide network. Okay, so if we take a review papers, yes, the review papers will give some kind of useful inputs to conduct the research, but the research papers are the foundation for the modern sciences. Like as I told you, one the case study, like the scientific breakthrough, how the people have created the solar cell with the efficiency of 39%. Okay, so that kind of information will be there only in the research paper, not in the review paper or the short communications. Okay, and it's the most effective way to share the information across the world. Okay, so that's very important, because when I do something, it need to reach the multiple people in the multiple countries. So obviously the research paper has that much of impact on the society. And the researchers state their findings plainly and with the corresponding evidences. Okay, they will be discussing about why method is performing better. Okay, and what are the things, or what are the novelties are there, what methodology I have used it, what kind of tools I have used it, and they'll be discussing all these discussions with the empirical evidences. Okay, it's not like simply the orally they'll be discussing. Okay, it's purely with the evidences that people will be discussing everything in the research papers. And okay, so I have given the glimpses of the research papers, And when you write a research paper, okay, and how long the research paper should be, okay, so you have to be very careful in this aspect. Okay, the first thing, as I told, we have different types of publications like research paper, review paper, short communication, letters, electronic. So many things are there. Even nowadays, one of the publisher like MBPI, they have given a lot of options. Okay, like perspective, some discussions. Okay, so many kind of publication opportunities they have given. Okay, so here, as I told, I'll be talking about the research paper, and the length of the paper, it should be between the range what I have given. That is from 2000 to 12,000 words. Okay. However, the longer papers are more common in certain disciplines. Okay. It's not like only you have to restrict up to 12,000 words. Now, some of the papers may be more than 12,000 words where we do some kind of extensive data analysis and discussions. Okay. So, suppose if you do some kind of work on the statistics. Okay, if you do some works on the optimization algorithms and the algorithm development, and then we have to discuss about some statistical findings. Okay, so for those kind of papers, it may exceed 12,000 words, but it is better always you restrict the papers with 12,000 words maximum. Okay, and here again we have some kind of categorization. Like if you are writing a research paper, it should be between 4,000 to 8,000 words. Because why I'm giving these restrictions? No, in most of the journals, these third restrictions are there. Okay, so if you write a paper, if you write a research paper, it should not cross 8,000 words, including your references. Okay, including your tables, including your figures, okay, including your equations. It includes everything. Okay, it should not cross 8,000 words. Okay, but many journals, I cannot say many journals, a few journals, they have these restrictions, and few journals, they don't have any restrictions, especially if you go with any kind of open access journals. Okay, there won't be any word limitation, but when we go with any kind of subscription based journals, and we have some kind of word restrictions. Okay, so that's why I'm just suggesting, if you write any research papers, you just try to restrict the number of words between 4,000 to 8,000 words. And the short papers are what I said, the short communications or the letters, it will not be crossing the 2,000 words. And suppose if you write any kind of a review papers, okay, it can be 12,000 words, or sometimes maybe more than 12,000 words also. Okay, while the length is important, so obviously the word length is important, but at the same time we should not compromise with the quality and the clarity of the content. Okay, so some people, because of this word restrictions, what they will do, they write some good papers, and since this word restrictions are there, what the people will do is they will take the paper and they will remove the contents, because they don't realize that that is a required one, and it is the clarity, that the content what they are removing is the clarity, that gives the clarity for the whole paper. Okay, without knowing that, they will remove it and they'll submit the paper, though the paper is written very well. Okay, the paper will be rejected. Okay, so when you are taking care about the length, okay, at the same time you have to give the equal importance to the quality and the clarity of the content. Okay, as I told, it's a crucial factor to focus on the presenting a well structured, okay, and a coherent and concise paper that effectively communicates. Because it's a research paper, we have to communicate everything effectively. Okay, somewhere if it is lagged, then obviously getting rejection is more. Okay, so you have to effectively communicate the research finding, as well as you have to effectively communicate the analysis and the interpretation. Okay, so though we have restrictions, we have to take care of this aspect also. Okay, and if you want to write any research paper, and what should be the structure of the paper? Okay, this is where the many people are making mistake, because I'm reviewing so many papers, I'm also editing so many papers. When I look at the paper, still I feel that why the people are not following the proper structure when they write the paper. Though the paper is written well, the content is good, the novelty is good, but the structure of the paper looks, it looks chaos. I cannot understand the paper completely. Okay, so when you write any kind of a research paper, okay, you should follow certain structure. Okay, so I'm just giving you the structure. So the first, you have to start with a title. Okay, one of the simple case study I'll be telling you. Recently I reviewed on paper. Okay, it's written by some research scholar and one of the professor from some good university. Okay, I don't want to name the university. Okay, so they have submitted the paper. When you read the paper, there is no abstract also. Okay, so it is pathetic situation. The people, they don't know what should be the structure. Okay, so the abstract is very important. It is a key section of the paper, and most of the editors and the subject editors will read the abstract and they will send the paper to the respective reviewers, the respective subject experts. Okay, so you please try to follow the structure what I'm giving you, and definitely your paper will turn into the good quality research paper. Okay, so the first you have to start with the title. Yes, that everyone knows it, but here one key point what I'm trying to give is the title. It should be concise and it should be informative and it should be accurately reflect the content of the paper. Don't give any kind of a generic title. Okay, so that will mislead the authors. Okay, and you will also missing the citations for the paper. Okay, so you please be careful when you write the title. It should be concise and it should be informative, and then it should match with the content of the paper. Okay, and next is abstract. So abstract, as you know, it's a brief summary of the research paper. Okay, it's an overall summary of the research paper, and here we have a word restrictions. Most of the journals, I can say 90% of the journals, journals means I'm just talking about only the quality journals, not like the third party or the low quartiles Scopus journals. Okay, I'm just talking about the high quartiles of SCI journals and the Scopus journals. Okay, so they have word restrictions. Okay, the abstract between 150 to 250 words. Okay, so they have these restrictions. Okay, within 200 words to 250 words. Okay, you have to briefly summarize your work, and it should not be less than 150 words also. So if you write the abstract with less than 150 words, then the people feel that the people have not done any work. Okay, so you be careful. At least you try to have 150 words in your abstract, and you can extend up to 250 words. Okay, and the introduction. So before introduction, actually we have to keep the keywords. Okay, because the keywords are very important. Maximum you can keep up to 6 keywords. Okay, because the keywords are very important to select the subject expert. Okay, that is for the reviewing. Okay, so obviously you have to keep the keywords. Then after keywords you have to keep the introduction. Okay, the introduction sets the context for the research and provides the necessary background information. Okay, and in most of the time what the people will do is they will club the introduction section and the literature section. Okay, so that is what they in the modern journal publications. Okay, so this you try to follow. Okay, you don't keep any kind of literature review separately. Okay, in the introduction part itself you try to discuss about the background information. After the background information you start discuss about your literature study, and after literature study there itself you define what's the problem. Okay, and also you just try to find the research gaps. Okay, and also you try to write the major contribution of the paper, and the organization of the paper should be there in the introduction section itself. Okay, so the introduction section covers the background information, literature study, problem statement, the research gaps, then my contributions of the paper, as well as the organization of the paper. So one section contains all these subsections. Okay, that need to be there in the paper. Then after that, the methodology, it is a core part of your paper. Okay, so here you have to describe the complete methodology or the algorithm or the design, what you do. Okay, and what the sample selections, data collections, data analysis, everything need to be disclosed in the methodology section, because this is the core part and this is where you're climbing the novelty. Okay, so you have to give more focus for the methodology part. Okay, and you have to describe complete research design, the samples, data, collections, analysis, everything need to be disclosed at the methodology section. Okay, and the results section. Okay, this section presents the findings of the study. It's purely results, means it may be through the simulation study, or it may be through the experimentation, or it may be through the surveys conducted. Okay, because a few disciplines needs this kind of a survey to present as a result. Okay, so all those things need to be discussed in the results section. Okay, in the results section, you have to keep the appropriate tables and figures. When you keep tables and figures, you have to give the proper explanation for the figures. So don't keep only the figure 2 says this, figure 2 says 3 is discussed about this. Don't give this kind of a generic statements. Okay, so what you're trying to convey from the figure and what you're trying to convey from the table, that need to be discussed in depth in the results section. Okay, if any kind of a statistical analysis are required, that also need to be discussed in the research section itself. Okay, and finally, the discussion section. In the discussion section, you have to interpret and analyze the results in the light of research questions and the objectives. It means, so when you claim your method is good, when you claim your algorithm is good, when you claim your design is good, okay, then you have to interpret and you have to analyze why your methodology is good. Okay, so that need to be discussed in the further discussion section. Okay, and finally the conclusion section. Okay, the conclusion section should summarize your key findings and their implications and restates the research questions and objectives and provides the concise summary. Okay, and one thing you have to keep it in your mind, the phrases in the abstract and the conclusion should not repeat. Okay, so you have to conclude properly, okay, with the help of the research findings and the implications. And before, after conclusion section, in the conclusion section itself, you try to discuss about the future extension. So what are the future possibilities are there when you do research in this particular topic, that need to be disclosed in the conclusion section itself. Okay, and finally, you go with the references. Okay, so the references again is a very important section. Okay, so you please try to keep at least some defined number of papers in the reference sections. Okay, and whatever the papers, you keep it in the reference section that need to be cited inside. Okay, and citations, maybe we have so many styles are there. Suppose if I go with IEEE style, okay, so we have to cite all the papers sequentially. Okay, if you go with the APA style, then you have to cite all your papers alphabetically. Okay, so it needs to be proper. Okay, so you should not call the 30th reference as the first and the first reference as the last. Okay, you should not do that. Okay, all the reference need to be cited sequentially. Okay, so this structure you have to follow. This is where most of the Indian researchers are doing a mistake. Okay, so please don't do that. Okay, start citing your papers sequentially so that it will give the proper flow for the readers. Okay, and after reference section, you have to deal with appendices. Okay, if you feel something is not important in the main text, for example, some kind of a derivation part, some kind of a tables, some kind of a data. Okay, if you feel that is not required in the main content, those things need to be provided in the appendix section. Okay, so this is what the structure of the paper. You please try to follow the structure. Okay, and definitely your paper quality will improve, and definitely you can easily publish your paper in the quality journals. Okay, and this is again a summary of the discussion. Okay, you can see the title, the maximum churn words. This is what the most of the reviewers and the editors are telling. The title should be concise and don't exceed the number of words more than 10 words. Okay, that is what the condition that people are giving. Okay, so though I have given the 150 to 250 words for the abstract, it's better to limit within 200 words, but don't go less than 150 words. Okay, and as I told you, the introduction and the literature study need to be clubbed and it should be discussed in the same section itself. Okay, and the methods, you should be specific. You remove all the known discussion and general discussions. Okay, only the specific discussions about your method need to be discussed in the methodology section. Okay, and the results section, you have to do the comprehensive analysis. Okay, and as I told you, why your method is working better, what you're trying to convey from the figure, and what you're trying to convey from the table, that need to be critically and deeply analyzed in the results section. Okay, in the discussion section, you have to discuss the findings, limitations, and challenges of the research or what you did. Okay, and the conclusion, the future extension must be there in the conclusion section, as we discussed that it should be concise summary. You should not write the conclusion for 2 3 pages. Okay, it should be a concise summary. Okay, and there along with the summary, you have to give the future extension as well. Okay, and any acknowledgement is there that need to be discussed after conclusion section. Okay, so any funding agencies, or if you want to acknowledge any researcher, or if you want to acknowledge any institutions, okay, so that need to be disclosed in the acknowledgement section. And the references, this is very important, please note it. Minimum reference for the research papers must be, okay, I'm not saying it can be, okay, it must be 25 minimum, okay, and for the review papers it must be minimum 100 papers. Okay, so this strategy you follow, and simply don't keep the references. Okay, so the reference paper need to match with the content of your paper. Okay, so it should be in your field of research. Okay, some other papers need not be cited here, because that will come into the plagiarism, no, the unethics, it is completely unethical thing. You should not do that. Okay, the papers which are related to your work need to be cited properly, need to be listed properly in your research papers. Okay, so if paper is somewhat not relevant to this, and that we call it as a citation manipulation, that you don't do it. Okay, and the tables and figures, and avoid unnecessary tables and figures. Okay, and something if you convey through the table, and same need not to be conveyed through the figures. Okay, so wherever it is necessary, you keep it. Wherever you feel it is a repetition or unnecessary, you remove it. Okay, so apart from that, one more thing is cover letter. The cover letters are very important. This is where the people are not giving the focus. We should write a proper cover letter, because most of the time the editors will read the cover letters to send the papers to the review. Okay, in the cover letter itself, you try to disclose what is the novelty, what is the scope of your paper, with the scope of the journal. Okay, and any conflicts are there. Okay, any kind of plagiarism is there, any kind of third party material is there, everything need to be disclosed in the cover letter. Okay, so you try to spend some time and write a proper cover letter before submitting the paper. Okay, so don't omit it, and don't allocate less time for writing cover letter. You try to allocate at least 10 15 minutes to write a proper cover letter for your paper submission. Okay, so now I'm moving on to one of the very important the topic. There is a chat GPT. So you know the chat GPT, it's a kind of a AI tool. Nowadays it's a buzzword among the researchers. Okay, not only among the researchers, throughout the world it's a buzzword. Okay, so not only the chat GPT, we have so many AI tools are there. Okay, one of the biggest buzzword is a chat GPT. So can we use the chat GPT for research purpose? Yes, we can use it. Okay, yes, we can use the chat GPT for your research purpose. Can we use it to write the research papers? Yes, you can use it, but you have to take care of multiple things. Okay, so that's what the title I kept. Is it effective rewriting tool? Yes, it is an effective writing tool. Okay, but it requires a proper guidance and support, and a proper the experts are required to correct the mistakes generated by the chat GPT. Okay, so that's what. So it can be a useful tool for generating ideas and getting initial draft for the research paper. Okay, however, there are few things to be considered when you use ChatGPT for the research paper writing. Okay, so what we have to do first. Okay, so when you ask some content from the ChatGPT, it will generate and it will give you. But as a researcher, or as an expert, you have to do fact checking. Okay, so the facts given by the ChatGPT, it's not always correct. Keep this point in your mind, because the chat GPT is trained by the lakhs and lakhs of data available on the internet. Okay, so because if I ask one question, it will try to relate with the many keywords, and it will try to take the inputs from many keywords, and it will give it to the user. Okay, so sometimes it may correct, many times it may not be correct. Okay, so as a researcher, as an expert, you should do fact checking. Okay, that's the first thing you have to do after generating the content from the chat GPT. The next one, a critical thinking. Okay, so the chat GPT is just a text generator. Okay, it will not do any kind of comprehensive analysis. Okay, so it will not think critically. Okay, so whatever the question you ask, so based on the question, based on the chat script, okay, it will tries to match the keywords with the available data, and it will give the information. So it will not do any kind of comprehensive analysis. Okay, so as a researcher, you people have to do a critical analysis. You have to evaluate the information generated by the chat GPT, and you have to incorporate your own analysis and the interpretation. Okay, so don't take everything from the chat GPT. As I told you, it may be useful for initial draft writing, but not for the complete paper writing. And the next one, the structure and the organization. As I told you, it's completely a text-based AI tool. It will not give any structured or organized data. Okay, it will give only the random data, shuffled data. As a researcher, you have to find the proper structure. You have to organize your paper properly. Okay, but your AI tool will not do that. Okay, even now so many AI tools are there. So there, if you upload your research paper on the go, when you walk or when you go for a jog, okay, when you go for some simple walk, you can hear it through the headphones. Okay, it will if you upload a paper, it will take the important content of the paper, and it will discuss with you over the headphones or earphones. Those kind of AI tools is also there. Okay, but we cannot believe everything, because as I told you already, it's all based on the script. Okay, it's all based on the keywords, and you have to do a proper structuring and the organization. Okay, and as of now, this tool is not having any kind of reference management software. As you know, when you write the research paper, we need to have a proper references, and need to be written in proper style, appropriate style. Okay, so the most of the time the people use APS style or MLS style or IEEE style. Okay, but it is not having any add-ons. But now slowly the chat GPT started giving some add-ons, okay, for the premium customers. Okay, maybe in future you may get any kind of the reference management add-ons also. So in such case, you can do kind of a referencing, but as of now, you cannot do any kind of referencing, and you cannot do any kind of citations. Okay, that's not possible with chat GPT. Okay, so this is what the advantages and drawbacks of the chat GPT. Okay, so I just summarized in a single slide itself, but if we discuss on the whole day or the whole week, we can discuss about chat GPT. Okay, so here I just want to give one simple demonstration, okay, how the chat GPT works. Okay, and this is where this is how the chat GPT window is. You can see that, you can see first thing, you have to sign in through any of your email ID. Okay, I just created some dummy email ID just for these discussions. Okay, and I just registered, and you can see this is how the chat GPT window is. Okay, and here you can see that there are two GPTs. One is the GPT 3.5. Okay, and you can see it is the fastest model and great for most everyday task. Okay, and it is free for everyone. Okay, but this is GPT-4. Okay, and this GPT-4, the information given by the GPT-4 is more accurate than the GPT 3.5. Okay, and it gives advanced reasoning. Okay, and it provides a lot of creative contents. Okay, and it is the most capable model among all the GPT models as of now. But the only thing is, it is available only to the premium customers. Okay, you have to pay the money and you have to take it. Okay, once you take it, you can use the GPT-4. But as of now, I'll be using GPT 3.5. So as I told, it is free for everyone. Okay, so now how we can use this chat gpt tool when you want to write or when you want to get some kind of content from the chat gpt. Okay, so here that when you use the chat gpt, you have to keep it in your mind that the keywords must be proper. Okay, if the keyword is not proper, okay, it will give the generic content, and without knowing, you people will copy and paste it, and finally the paper will be damaged. Okay, so don't do that. So what you have to do is you have to give the proper keywords to generate the information. Okay, I'll just give you one simple example. Okay, so you see that I'm just asking, can you please discuss about the energy? Okay, you see the energy is a common word. Okay, it can be related to multiple things. Okay, so I just asked this question to the chat gpt. I'm just pressing enter. Just look at it, it started generating so many things. Okay, and you see that energy is a fundamental concept in the physics. Okay, you can see the physics and plays a crucial role. Okay, this energy is also deals with my body energy. So it's many things are there, right? So you see, related to that energy keyword, it generated all the information, whatever the possible information that it can give. So it has given all the possible information about that particular keyword energy. Okay, so now actually I don't want this. I just want to discuss about some kind of thermal energy. Okay, I will ask my chat gpt. Okay, can you please discuss about some thermal energy? Okay, so now my keyword is slightly improved than the previous one. So in the previous one, I just asked what is energy alone. That's it, right? So now what I asked, you please discuss about the thermal energy I'm asking. Okay, so I'm just asking this now. Now it will deals only about your thermal energy. Okay, so still if you want to improve your write-up, then what you can do is, no, sir, I just want to know what is the transfer of thermal energy. So now you can ask the question about the transfer of thermal energy. So as I told you already, it will give the content based on the keywords what you are going to give. Okay, so you have to be very careful when you put the keywords, or else it will give all the generic information how it has given here. The same kind of information will provide, and you will be copy pasting it, then finally you'll be trapped. Okay, so don't do that. So give the proper keyword and try to get the information. Okay, and this is one thing. And the second thing, so as I told you, we can use this tool for idea generation. Okay, idea generation. So how we can use it? Okay, so here you see I'm asking, can you please suggest new field of research, sorry, a new field of research. I made a mistake. A new field of research in solar photovoltaics. Okay, so this is, as I told, this is only to generate in what area I can do research. Okay, so it will suggest to whatever the new fields are there in the sort of for solar photovoltaics. Okay, it will tries to give, it will tries to suggest all those things. Okay, so now I can focus on the tandem solar cells, perovskite, transparent solar cells, quantum dot solar cells, bifacials. Okay, so these are all the things it is suggesting. Okay, it is not like you can take everything and can do a research. Okay, so in this anything you can take. Okay, and you can ask some more question related to that particular field. So it will suggest you better research field for your PhD work or your PG work or even for the UG work also. So this is how you have to use the chat gpt tool. Okay, and you might be you might be thinking that okay, we can do something and we'll write some papers and we'll submit it. Okay, here also I have one checkpoint. Okay, what is the checkpoint is, see the contents what it is generated, there is a possibility of plagiarism. Okay, that is there. But even if it is not having a plagiarism, okay, one more problem is there. What is that problem? You know, nowadays when you submit the papers, it will go to the plagiarism softwares. When it goes to the plagiarism software, mostly professionally the people will use Turnitin and Authenticate as the plagiarism tools to check the plagiarism or to take the similarity reports. Okay, so as I know, the similarity must be less than 20%, so that everyone knows it. But nowadays, the plagiarism tools are generating the AI score along with the similarity report. Okay, so along with a plagiarism, okay, along with the similarity, it shows that 90 percentage AI score, 10 percentage AI score, 50% AI score. So though your similarity is zero, okay, if it shows the AI score, your paper will be rejected. It will not be goes for your review process. Okay, so now a lot of checkpoints are there. Even if you generate plagiarism free content, okay, you will be trapped by the AI score. Okay, once they catch you that you're using AI tool to write the papers, okay, then obviously you will be banned by the publisher. Okay, so you have to be very careful when you use AI tool. Okay, as I told you already, use the chat gpt for as a basic tool to generate the idea and also to write the initial draft for your paper or your research proposals or whatever. Okay, so don't depend 100% depend on this chat gpt. Okay, it can be a assistive tool, but it is not a complete tool to write your papers. Okay, so don't forget, you please keep it in your mind. Okay, so that's all about the chat gpt. Okay, so I just discussed the few things, but as I told, if we start discuss about this, okay, we can discuss for the days of the weeks together. We can discuss about chat gpt. Okay, because as I told, there are a lot of AI tools. We know only chat gpt, but unknowingly we have thousands of AI tools to do these kind of the writing process or the research process. Okay, and the writing tools, as you know, mostly we'll be using some kind of tools like Microsoft Office or LaTeX, or if you want some kind of open access or the open source tools, we can go with Open Office and LibreOffice. Okay, these are the open source tools. But Microsoft Office is the commercial tool, but it's a complete professional tool. Okay, so if you have the access, or if you have purchased it, you can use the Microsoft Office. But most of the people from the IITs and IITs and even the foreign universities, those especially working on the mathematics and some kind of algorithms, the people will go with the LaTeX software. Okay, it's again open source software. Okay, you can use it, but the only thing is you should know the basic programming, because you need some kind of coding skill, and also you have to spend a lot of time to write a paper when you use the LaTeX. But Microsoft Office, it's a simple tool, just pasting, okay, and just the typing. It's very easy. There is no need of any commands. But for the LaTeX, you should use the commands. Okay, so you should have some kind of programming skill to use the LaTeX. But it's open source, you can use it. But especially when you use any kind of mathematics oriented papers, okay, or the paper which has more number of equations, okay, it's better to go with a LaTeX software. Okay, even very few journals have restrictions that you can submit the paper only in the LaTeX format, not in the Word format. Okay, that kind of restrictions are there, but it's only for very few journals. Okay, especially for the mathematics. Okay, if you're submitting the papers to the mathematics journal, and definitely they'll be asking you to prepare the paper in the LaTeX. Okay, and what are the drawing tools? Okay, here I just listed many drawing tools. Okay, you can use it for any kind of drawing. It starts with engineering to the medical. Okay, so even for the arts, even for the science. Okay, we can use it for any kind of things. Okay, and here I just listed many tools, But in that, what I suggest is Microsoft Visio and Draw.io. Microsoft Visio, it's a commercial version. Okay, if you have the access, you can use it. It's a completely professional tool for the drawing. Okay, and the Draw.io, it's an open source tool. Okay, you can have the online tool as well as the offline tool. Okay, you can download it and you can keep it in your laptop or the PC, and you can start work on it. It has so many packages, as I told, starts from the engineering, science, okay, medical, whatever the field you are. Okay, it has a lot of packages, and you can draw any kind of plots. Okay, apart from that, so many online tools are there. Okay, to draw any pictures. Okay, so you can use it. But what I listed is very few. Even I told you the chat GPT, it has some kind of add-ons. Okay, as I told, if you go with GPT-4, then you can include some add-on. Okay, so when you ask some questions related to drawing, your chat GPT will tries to give the very basic drawing through that add-ons. Okay, so that possibility is also there. Okay, maybe in future it will be extended to the free users also, but as of now, this feature is only for the premium users. Okay, and we have some kind of reference management softwares. Okay, so many reference management softwares are available that I listed here. Very few I listed here. Apart from that, so many tools are there. Okay, so here what I suggest to you is you can go with a Mendeley software or the EndNote. Okay, EndNote, it's purely a commercial version. Okay, so if you have access, you can use the EndNote. Okay, it's because it's given by the Clarivate. Okay, it has a lot of the features, like it writes faster, stay organized, collaborate easier, get published, and work from anywhere. Okay, so suppose if you start work today, okay, if you assign someone to do the same work in other place, so we can give the access to them, they can do it. Okay, so that kind of features are available with the EndNote. But the Mendeley is a free tool. Okay, it's released by the elsewhere. Okay, and it's very easy tool. You can easily organize, and you can easily cite, and you can easily share your research. But compared to the EndNote, it is having a less number of features. But one biggest advantage of Mendeley is it's a user friendly, and it is a free software. Okay, the free in the sense, for up to certain capacity it is free. Then if you go with more number of storage, then we have to pay money for the elsewhere. Okay, but for the researchers like us, it's Mendeley is more than sufficient, so you can start using the Mendeley. Okay, and choosing the journal. When you choose the journal, you should ask yourself four questions. What is, what audience do you want to reach? Okay, so it means that journal, who's reading, what's the journal scope of the journal. Okay, and the next question is, how prestigious is the journal? Okay, so this prestigious the metric is measured by so many performance metrics, like Scopus indexing, Web of Science indexing. Okay, not only that, the metrics such as site score, okay, and H index of the journal, okay, and the impact factor of the journal, okay, and the journal citation indicator of the journal, okay, and Plumx metrics. So many metrics are available. Okay, so based on that, you can judge the prestigious stage of your journal. Okay, and the third question is, how long does it take to publish? Okay, so submit your paper today and publish your paper by next year means, no, it's all waste of time and waste of maybe the work gets sold out. Okay, so when you select any journal, you check how long it will take for the publishing my paper, and the last question is, how much does it cost? That is very important, because nowadays so many open access journals are available. So many restrictions are there for free journal called the subscription based journals. Okay, so many restrictions are there. Okay, but when we go with the open access journals, okay, you have to pay a lakhs of money for as an open access fee. Okay, you check before submitting your paper to that respective journal, and just check whether the article processing charge is affordable by you or not. Okay, if it is affordable, you go for it, or else you go for the subscription based journal. Okay, there is a difference between open access journal and the predatory journal. Open access journals, it doesn't mean that they will compromise the quality. Okay, the open access journal, why they mean it as an open access journal is the content is open to all the people. The readers can download the paper at any time, at any point. Okay, and they can use it. Okay, so they will obviously the publisher will not compromise the quality. Don't confuse with open access journal and the paid journal. The paid journals are the predatory journals. So what they will do, they will get the money, they will publish whatever the paper you want. Okay, so that is what we call as a paid journal. But open access journals, it's not like that. Open access means it's open to the readers. Okay, so for that the author has to pay the money initially. The publisher will publish the paper at free of cost. The reader will pay the money and they will take the paper to read. But now it's a Volta. It means the reader will not pay anything. They will read it. Okay, but the author has to pay the money. Okay, so in this case, there is no compromise in the quality. If anyone says a open access journal is nothing, you please try to argue with them. Okay, and you please try to make them understand what is the meaning of open access journals. Okay, yes. Now the indexing databases, as I told you, the prestigious stage of the journal is selected by the indexing databases. So many indexing databases are available. Okay, the one of the few of the known indexing databases are Web of Science, okay, and Scopus and Google Scholar. Apart from that, so many indexing databases are available. Okay, so in the Web of Science, we have so many criteria like SCI, SCI, and ESCI, and also CPCI. Okay, SCA journals are the top quality journals. Okay, and that has an impact factor. Okay, and it's a top level. Okay, in SCA also we have a different quartiles like Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Okay, and SSCI is it's the SCI is purely for science and engineering fields. Okay, then arts and social science fields will be having SSCI indexing, that is a social science citation index. It is slightly, the level of this is slightly less than SCI, and ESCI is the basic level for the Web of Science. Okay, and CPCI is the conference proceeding citation index, is only for the conference papers. Okay, so always the Web of Science is at the top. It's a creamy layer. Then after that, and the Web of Science, the impact, I told you that impact factor, right? That the impact factor must be given by the Clarivate Analytics. Nowadays, the local journals are climbing, the impact factor is 10, 15, like that. So that is not the right impact factor. So the impact factor means that need to be given only by the Clarivate Analytics. If it is given by the Clarivate Analytics and that is the right one, then other than that, anything if they disclose in the website, it is completely a fake, just to cheat the people. They'll keep some numbers and they will do the Google Scholar impact factor, something and all they'll do. Google Scholar will not give any kind of impact factor. Okay, impact factor will be given only by the Clarivate Analytics. Please don't forget it. The next one is the Scopus. The Scopus, again, we have different quartiles like Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Okay, and this quartile and the Clarivate Analytics quartile totally different. Okay, for example, the Q1 Scopus journal may be a Q4 SCI journal. Okay, so does it mean that Q1 Scopus journal is also Q1 SCI journal? No, it doesn't mean it. The meaning is different. Okay, because this quartile is given by the elsewhere and this quartile is given by the Clarivate Analytics. Nowadays, the most of the foreign universities are expecting Q1, Q2 SCI papers. Then you will be valued and you will be recognized globally. Okay, this point you keep it in mind. And the next one is a Google Scholar. Okay, so the Web of Science will index only the Web of Science journals, and the Scopus will index only Scopus indexed papers, that is some quality papers, and the Google Scholar will index all the publications, like whether it's a book or it is a journal or it's a conference or it is a thesis or it's a preprint, abstract, technical reports, newspaper, whatever it is there, that will be indexed by the Google Scholar. Okay, so the level is a low level, but as I told you, the top level is the Web of Science. Okay, and nowadays the people are talking about the AI Compendex also. This AI Compendex is also given by the Scopus team or the elsewhere team. Okay, it is also almost equal to Scopus, but It's not equal, but it's almost equal to the status of the Scopus. Okay, apart from that, so many other indexing databases also available. And the threats of predatory journals. So in online, you can see so many predatory journals are there. Okay, they will ask you to submit a paper, and or you will be going to the fake journals website, and you'll be submitting your paper. Within a day, you'll be getting email that you pay $400, will publish your paper in a day. Okay, if you are getting these kind of emails, if you are publishing paper in 1 or 2 days just by paying some dollars or some 20, 30,000 or 40,000 rupees, then obviously I can say those journals are predatory journals. Okay, so many Indian researchers are trapped by the predatory journals. I saw many people are publishing the papers like anything just by paying 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 rupees, and they're publishing papers. After publication, that paper will not be reflecting any of the indexing databases, because that journals are predatory journals, that journals are fake journals. Okay, so you have to be very careful before submitting your paper. Be aware of predatory journals. Okay, so it's tough, but there's no way. You have to identify and you have to submit your paper. Okay, and the statements need to be disclosed in your research papers are, you know, the author contribution, okay, and the acknowledgement, and the data viability statements, okay, and the ethical approval, okay, and the conflict of interest. All these need to be disclosed when you write the paper. Okay, so nowadays it's mandatory for all the top quality journals. And submitting a paper. Okay, so as I said, you go to the journal website and read the instruction for the authors. Based on the instructions given, you prepare your paper in the template. Or most of the journals are having a free format submission, but few journals have the restrictions. So based on the author instructions, you read it and prepare your paper properly. And sometimes the journals will be asking you to give the potential reviewers list also. Okay, and you can select these reviewers from the reference papers of yours, so that you'll be getting the quality review comments. Okay, don't give any known people names as the reviewer, or don't give any known or the colleagues of you, or the researchers of research collaborators of you. Don't suggest. Okay, and the paper may be retracted in the future. You have to be very careful. Okay, and one more thing, you don't do any multiple submissions. When you submit your paper to one journal, okay, you just wait for the decision. Once the decision comes, then you go to the next journal. Okay, so if you submit the papers to the multiple journals simultaneously, then you will be trapped, because nowadays the journals are having a proper tracking system to detect this multiple submission. If the journal finds that you are doing multiple submissions, they will ban you. They will not allow you to do any kind of publication with respect to that particular publisher. Okay, and as I told before submitting your paper, check your paper for the plagiarism and generate the similarity report. So don't go with any kind of online similarity tools, plagiarism tools, some third party plagiarism tools and all. Try to always use the professional plagiarism tools. Okay, the authenticate is there, Turnitin is there. Okay, so then apart from that, so many plagiarism tools are there, but mostly 99% of the journals are using only authenticate and turn it in as the plagiarism tool. Okay, so that it will give the proper similarity report, and your paper will go through the review process. Okay, when you're ready to submit, now the question comes where to submit. Okay, so for that we have a lot of journal finders are there. Okay, you go with any other journal finder and just ask the recommender system to recommend a journal for your paper, and you can publish your paper. You can submit your paper in that respective journal. Okay, so one simple demonstration I'll give you very quickly. Okay, so for that purpose, what I do is I'll just type it in Google elsewhere journal finder. You can see I'll just open this elsewhere journal finder. Okay, just open it. Okay, and here what you have to do is you have to submit. You have to submit your abstract and the title of your paper. Okay, so let me choose any one paper. Okay, I'll choose any one paper. I just recently referred some papers. Okay, I'll just take this paper as simple example. Okay, so here you see I have the title of the paper. Okay, so I just open it. I put the this journal finder, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so match my abstract. So sorry, I instead of copying the abstract, I copied the title. So I'll just copy the abstract. I just put it here. I just put it here. Okay, now I just click the find journals. Okay, so now these journals have started using AI tools. Okay, it started using AI tools, and it will detect the keywords based on your the abstract what you have provided. Based on the keywords, it will tries to select the proper journal. Okay, and will tries to match the scope of the paper with your journal. I can see that the text match score, it's about just 25 percentage, it's 20 percentage, it's less. And you can see the journal side score, impact factor, everything. And the side score is given by the Scopus, it's about 17 point. It is exceptional side score. And you can see that impact factor of journal is 9.9, it's too good. And you can see the acceptance rate is only 9 percentage. Okay, and this is what the time duration for your paper if you submit. Okay, the time to first division decision is 4 weeks, and the time to publication is 2 weeks. Okay, and it has both the options like open access and subscription. If you have open access fund, you can go with open access. If you don't have open access fund, you go with the subscription based. Okay, and here another suggestion is also there. Okay, so based on these suggestions you can take it. Okay, and one more journal I'll show you. See that Helian journal, it is also matching with the abstract what I have given. You can see the site score is there. Okay, and impact factor is there. Acceptance rate is compared to the previous two, it is somewhat good, 20 percentage, it is somewhat acceptable. And the time for the first decision is 7 weeks, and time to publication is 2 weeks. Okay, and here you have to be very careful because you see this Helion journal is only an open access journal. Okay, so if you have the rupees $2,100, then you can submit your paper to this particular journal. So likewise, you can see it will recommend the all the related journals for your paper, and you select it and go for the submission. Okay, so this is the way to select the journal for your work. Okay, I hope it is useful. So I have shown the demonstration only for the elsewhere. In a similar way, we have Springer recommendation system, IEEE recommendation system, Taylor and Francis, Wiley, and these four are specific to the publisher, and these two are the general. And these two websites will give the journals from other publishers also. Okay, and the peer review process, this might be knowing it. Okay, how the peer review process will go on. Okay, and suppose if your paper is accepted or rejected, you have to be accepted. Okay, so if it is accepted, be happy. If it is rejected, you just read the comments and try to improve the quality of the paper just by incorporating the suggestions given by the experts, and try to submit your paper to some other journals. Okay, and finally, what are the things as a researcher, because nowadays research is given more focus. So as a researcher or as an author, you should have some kind of profiles in the various the social medias. Okay, I just listed very few. Okay, so apart from that, you can have so many profiles as well. So more, here I just missed the LinkedIn also. That is also one of the very important ones, so I forgot to mention here. Okay, and you see the ORCID ID is there. ORCID ID is the unique ID, even it's a unique ID for the author. Okay, and this is useful for the metadata, and it is also useful for the indexing. Okay, so this ORCID ID is nowadays, it's mandatory even for the submission also. Okay, so that you have to create it. Okay, and the researcher ID, it's given by the Web of Science. So now actually it was handled by Bubloons. Now again it is handled by the Clarivate Analytics. Okay, so in this profile, you'll be having all your Web of Science indexed journals and your citations of your Web of Science indexed journals and H index of it. Everything will be disclosed. And suppose if you do any kind of a review or editing, that will be reflected in this profile. Okay, then you should have a Scopus ID, Scopus author profile. You can check all your Scopus papers in this Scopus author profile. And the Google author profile is also required. You can have, or you can organize all your paper publications in the Google Scholar profile. Okay, and apart from that, ResearchGate, Academia, and Microsoft Academic ID, all these are the social medias. Okay, try to create an account with this. Okay, and try to have a profile so that your research will reach the wide people, and it will create a lot of impact on your research. Okay, and finally, I personally suggest the personal website for your profile. Okay, so you just consolidate all your works, whatever the work you do, so that you keep it in your website and keep updated. Okay, and you try to share your website with all the people, all the known people, unknown people. Just share it with as many people so that the people start to refer your website, the people will start to refer your papers. It may increase your citations, it may increase your research impact also. Okay, so these are the profiles you have to have. I'm just giving you a suggestion, so you please decide whichever you want it. So accordingly, you can go for it. Okay. And finally, I just want to acknowledge. I acknowledge the contents of the other peers whose contents are being used to comprehend the subject better, and I do solely for the academic purposes. It's not for any commercial purpose, and I do not claim any ownership of any of the contents of the other peers. So with this note, with this acknowledgement, I thank you all for the patient listening to this the lecture. Okay, if you feel it is useful, you please take it forward and work on it. Okay, if you feel it is not useful, you please try to give your comments so that I can improve myself. Okay, and this is my contact details. You can contact me at any time. Okay, if you have any further doubts. So thank you all. Yes, over to you, ma'am.